guys, welcome to another episode of Around the Table GTA. This is a nice, fresh episode. We are going to start season 5 with more of these 52 episodes that I wanted to get into for the year, right? That's the main goal. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I'm going to do. It's just adding that passion back. And you could see in the last 2 episodes, those were things that were recorded. I never uploaded it. I'm going to do a lot more of those if I do find episodes, because I'm putting more time into the podcast because I've completed some bigger goals. I still have one major goal to complete, but that could still I could still slow down and just get back into the momentum of the podcast. Why? Because I have the intent there, I have the feeling, I have the drive, and I also have the motivation. So why not capitalize on this feeling and this momentum, right? We want to do that, to just get better at anything. If you have the momentum, if you could, if you feel like you're on fire in a good way, you have to keep going, right? Don't stop. It's a strategy that I use when I play certain games as well too. If I'm on a winning streak, or if you're on a winning streak, are you gonna just stop? No, you're not gonna stop. You're gonna keep going until you lose. That's a very good technique, right? Unless you're at the casino. Your casino, you want to make sure, hey, did I get enough money? Is this the amount of money I could walk away with? Am I okay? Then you're gonna tap out. You're gonna take off. This episode is going to be about competition and just how it is great to have a rival in your life. Recently, a lot of the stuff I talk about is work, but a good chunk of my life is work. But with summer going on, with road adventures, with potentially doing live podcast episodes, or even doing a side thing with food, you're going to see more and different content. But this is going to be work related because it's work. For a while, I haven't really felt challenged at work, and I do have a coworker who is a bit more, I could say, a rival. We are opposites in the spectrum. It's funny. We did this course or this program, whatever, and everyone had their kind of personality types, and I was working with someone who was my complete opposite, and it kind of shows how it depends how strong you are as a person for things to work, right? Me and this person, we disagreed with most things, but because of the strong communication, it pushed us to have to work together, and we learned. And being on the same page, especially with someone who's the complete opposite of you, thinking wise, approach wise, it should be more difficult than it can be. But I don't know whether I would say it's more on my side. I don't want to belittle the other person, right? But I'm a pretty good compromiser when I have to compromise. But at the same time, if there's no choice, no one's pushing me into a corner. So I'm going to take more of the credit on the W here, right? But overall, it's made work a little bit more exciting because I see someone who's passionate, somebody who's very well driven and has a goal, right? And someone who does have that potential. I'm not the type of person who doesn't like a challenge, right? I think life is easier, or at least more exciting for me, and easier when there is a rival, when you have a competition, when you have someone who's either A, going for the same goal as you, or B, is doing something in a way where, hey, I never thought of that. Maybe I could do it that way, right? Just having that refresher type of view. A lot of people see a challenge as a negative thing, right? But at the same time, it can be a building block for you to achieve better, or it could help you choose better in certain decisions. For example, like, let's say you're not getting somewhere where you want to, and someone takes a different approach, right? Maybe that means you have to take a different approach if that person was able to get to your goal, right? We have to expand our minds when it comes to many different things if we want to be successful. And being successful might also mean that you have to change the ways that you work, right? With this person, we've bounced a lot of ideas against each other, and we've been trying to one up each other, and it's been great. It's made my work life a lot more exciting, and it's pushed me a little bit more. So I have to do a little bit more to prove that I'm the best and stay on top. More things to celebrate. I got supervisor of the award again, and it shows that it's not luck. When you do something once, someone could say it's luck. When you do something twice, it's shown, it's proof, it's cemented, right? And that's what we want to do with our goals, and even when we do plan, right? When you hit your next goal, what are you going to do to celebrate? How are you going to show that, okay, I've done this once, I could do it again, right? Last year I did a half marathon. Can I do it again? Yes, I've been able to do it once, and there's nothing different that I'm dealing with outside of me being slightly older or me having slightly more weight on me. But I could say that I have more muscle and more knowledge of the difficulties of the experience that I've had, because I actually had the experience now. Before, everything was hypothetical, where it's just like, oh, how much can I really run? Am I going to make it? Are these shoes okay? How much times will I stop? Will my time be okay? But because I've done it, all of those questions are answered, and I could do something different if I want to do the same thing again next year. Maybe I'll do a full marathon. Why? Because I have the mindset and I know that I've done it before. So why not? The concept of a rival isn't new, especially if you grew up as a 90s kid. Pokemon was just something that was so popular, and if you watched the show, if you played the video games, every generation had a rival, whether it was red, blue, yellow, gold and silver, emerald, ruby, sapphire, but everything kind of changed per version, right? Even now, people make a joke where the rival is so simple and it just reflects society. But having a rival, having a competitive partner, having somebody who is going for the same goal as you really helps you stay focused, and it actually can remind you and show you, is this what you're really going for, right? My coworker made me realize that there is some ways that I still want to go on with my career, but at the same time, there's different things that I'm trying to go for that it's not necessarily for me. And maybe it's time for me to reevaluate what I'm trying to do if I choose to stay. Do I have what it takes? 100%. But is it what I want to do? What do I want to do? What's my passion? And am I going to be able to do it here? Right? Another thing that I've learned is that you have to celebrate your wins. I'm not a type of person that likes to celebrate too crazy, right? With my friends, maybe, right? With family. But most of the time, it's something super low key. Why? Because it makes me feel like I'm bragging, and it's weird to think that, I guess. Some people tell me it's weird, but I don't know, right? I already know that I do very well, and I know sometimes that makes other people feel bad, right? But realistically, I think if you're serious enough, you have to put that passion in, and you can't do a mediocre job and hope to be number one. You can hope, but clearly you're not number one, and you have to do something to change, right? But the person who is number one is the one who's celebrated, right? We watch the Olympics, we watch different sports venues and activities. We want to celebrate who's number one. We don't celebrate number two, number three, number four. There are ways that we celebrate people who are super close, but it's not the same love, recognition, or admiration as the person who's number one, right? But again, like I said, I don't really like that. I don't like the spotlight too much, right? But at the same time, if I don't celebrate for me, who's going to celebrate for me, right? If I don't put myself out there, how am I going to be noticed? If I'm the best, I have to reinforce and show everybody that I am the best, right? And that's a thing for, I guess, more people who have that same mindset as me, where sometimes you have to transform that mindset. And that's all thanks to my quote unquote work rival, right? Do I still think I'm ahead of the game? 100%, right? But I finally see someone who's as ambitious as I was or I am, right? I don't know if I want to say was, right? Because I'm still trying to be number one, but now it looks like I might have to actually try because there is a lot of potential in the person. And it's good to be open-minded, right? When you're at the top or you feel like you're on the top, you don't want to have the mindset that no one else could come up here, right? Some people gatekeep and stuff, but at the end of the day, there's always somebody who's trying to get your spot. And what are you going to do to stay on top? And if you don't want to be on top, what are you doing? Right? I don't know if it is human nature to be number one, right? At least in the animal kingdom, you want to be at the top of the food chain, right? But even then, being at the top, there's different ways to be on the top or feel like being on top, or even like managing being on the top. Some people, I would say, are more nonchalant, like me. Every once in a while, I'd be like, oh, look at all this stuff that I did, right? At least in that sector of my life. And then people will be like, oh, wow. And then I'll be like, well, it's nothing. And the thing is, it's not really nothing. It is hard work. But at the same time, when you just do it, it does feel like nothing. And I think that's something that makes it disheartening for other people. When you make something difficult look easy, it can turn people off, and that's not your problem, right? Like I said, I've been getting advice from different people who could be seen as rivals or people who I admire, and it's pushing me to care less about how others feel in certain things, but making sure that I feel good first before worrying about everybody else. And it's actually changed my mindset and it's pushed me to do more. And that's a big reason why there was a major gap, right? I'm looking at my upload gap right now, and it's a good 3 months, right? But again, when you have that ambition or the goal set early, it doesn't matter when you push to start, right? As long as you have that timeline, you have what you want to do, and you have enough time and the clear vision, right? One thing that I goof on every year is Anime North. Every time I want to do a cosplay, like I think not this year, but next year, because Anime North was this weekend. Maybe I'll do a short episode on Anime North after this, just so, yeah, I'll put up the episode count, but it'll also be like a passion episode. So I'm going to write that down after this episode. I've been also writing down more ideas as well, so that there's a little bit more of a flow, right? Like every episode, it's still me like off the top of my dome and thinking of what I have to say and just spitting it out there. Everything here that you're listening to is unscripted. It just comes out of my mind because I have the topic and I'm going along with it. But anyways, going back to what I was saying with the rivals and admirers, right? You have to make yourself comfortable first. And when you're comfortable, that's when things could, let me use some words that everybody uses. That's when things can manifest, right? That's when you channel the things that you need to do, right? Because if it doesn't start with you, who else is going to be there openly, right? Like, I had the episode, or have the episode, silent supporters, right? Where you do have silent supporters in your life, right? I'll just give an example. My cousin, or my god cousin, who's now playing ball in Germany, because that his dream was to be a pro basketball player, and he's a pro basketball player in Germany right now. And every time he runs into me, he was always like, "Oh, I thought you'd be further in life than this," right? And sometimes it made me feel bad, but sometimes it made me realize, like, you know, how much of my potential am I using, right? And potential isn't everything. If you don't use your potential, if you don't use your advantages, if you don't use the resources around you, if you don't prop yourself up, time is going to pass, just like this super fast flying year will go, and you could potentially lose all of the advantages you have, right? This is a big thing when people are talking about the dating market, or even the potential epidemic of children, where everybody thinks that they could have kids later, right? Not everybody has the same biological clock. And even with the food that we're eating now and how active people are, it's not safe for either the men or the women, because you're waiting too long to do something that in the past was a lot younger. And yes, we could say with the miracles of modern science, we could live longer, look younger at certain ages, but that doesn't change what's inside, and that's our biology. So it's interesting where we kind of are getting smarter, but the basic things, we're not realizing that this is a basic thing, and it's nothing, it's, you can't change it yet. Like, we're not at that point yet where we can change it, right? Even like freezing eggs and stuff like that, it's not 100% chance you're gonna get a child, right? And that's scary, right? Especially if it's a dream of yours. You can't wait crazy long time, right? Whether you're ready or not, you'll never be ready for kids, right? So you have to push, right? And it's the same thing with other things, right? There's things in your life that you want to start, but you don't think you're ready. You're not comfortable. You're not sure. You don't have enough money. You don't think it's safe. Oh, it's risky. You're never going to be ready. So you have to make the choice. And the earlier you make the choice, and whether you fail or not, it's going to be easier to recover, right? Imagine waiting for 40 years to to ask the first girl that you liked out, right? Imagine 40 years just approaching somebody because you were fearful, right? You've had 40 years of potential time to experience this first time feeling, right? And you get rejected because you're awkward, because you're 40, or like there's a movie called 40-Year-Old Virgin, right? You can't wait for everything to be perfect. The stars won't always align, right? There's some times where you could wait and it's just like, that was perfect. It's good. It's a good thing that you waited. But to wait too late, right? If you wait too much, you might be too late, right? I think every guy here, or even some of the girls, some of the ladies, right, who are checking out this podcast, have the moment where it's like, oh, I should have asked them, and you miss an opportunity with someone awesome, right? Or like, I have the famous episode of me messing up a job interview, right? And stuff like that, or hey, I met this person, or I had a chance to go to this event and I didn't, and it was awesome, right? Like, I had a very similar, right? I went to Anime North only one day this year. I bought a weekend pass, and it's just like, wow, it's kind of a waste, right? But all the things that I planned for it wasn't in the books, in the point where as like I waited too long to do a lot of stuff, so I couldn't do it. And then, anyways, I'll save most of the episode for the next episode. I want to ruin my AN episode, even though it's gonna be more like it's gonna be a short episode, maybe 10 minutes. So I'll probably do a double episode that week, just so it's there and it's better content. But either way, we can't wait around for everything, right? So remember, guys, going back to the main stuff about this episode, make sure you are celebrating your wins, okay? Someone who's an opponent and a rival, a friend, uh, having a friendly spar, especially with the same goal, it can be a great and powerful tool, right? It shows you your trajectory in life or in that competition. It shows you who's on your side. It shows you who's wishy-washy. It shows you so many different things if you're paying attention. And having a challenge in your life is one of the great blessings that I think a lot of younger people don't realize, right? When you have the chance to win it all or lose it all, your mind and everything around you just resonates in a different way. And to be able to see those lines and progress and win is something that is innate, right? We need to win. We need to have challenge to progress and to grow. So the next time you're challenged, the next time you have somebody disagree with you, the next time someone's saying something absolutely crazy or insane, stop and take it in, right? You might be getting information that could help you further whatever you have in mind and to be a better version of yourself, right? It might actually get you activated and start something that will become an avalanche of success. Anyways, hopefully you guys like this episode, and I'm gonna have more stuff out. It's 4:30 in the morning, but right now I just feel energized. I feel activated, so I'm gonna do more things. I think, yeah, I'll do an episode on time frame. I probably have an older episode on this, but yeah, just I'm just using that momentum. Either way, like I said, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.